All right, next up we got middle school wrestling. I'm going to call up my own Vanna White, Mr. Cooper Whitworth. Give us the beautiful wave. Okay, there you go. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Spring, Mrs. Schmidt, Mrs. Souter, Coach Witt, and all of you teachers. Middle school wrestling season was very, fluid in our schedule and times and all that when people would allow. So I thank you all for working with us as we changed 2 or 3 times on when we were leaving and all that stuff. So thank you. Thanks to the parents as well at home that helped us throughout the season, getting kids food, all of that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and call up the manager group. So Emma Bohannon, Emily Monosmith, Tucker Noonan, and Deanna Raymer. Can you come down? Yeah, give them a round of applause. This group worked very hard all season long, obviously keeping stats, filling up, cleaning the mats, which was a huge thing this year, trying to keep everybody healthy. They did that multiple times. Copies, anything like that. So they were a very hardworking group, made our job a lot easier. Tucker was a wrestler to start off with. I don't think he's here. With an unfortunate dodgeball accident, where he might not play dodgeball ever again, and a broken collarbone, and ended up jumping over to the manager's side, so really appreciated him. Can I get my female wrestlers on the team? My female wrestlers, come on down. This is Alex Martin, Madison Kine, Grace Matlock, Lafayette McGuire, Haley Potter, Ashley Soresic, and Jillian Simon. So this group of girls is doubled size from last year. Girls wrestling is one of the fastest growing sports, not only in Kansas, but in the nation, at the high school level, and we're trying to build that up through our middle school program. And so they did a fantastic job. I believe every one of them are brand new to the sport as far as participation, with, 6 8th graders and 1 7th grader. So we're really excited to have this entire group, and they did very well. Learned a lot in our short season, and really kind of dominated throughout the season as far as the girls' side of competition. And I'm really excited to see, hopefully we get all of them back, whether that's our 1 7th grader or our 6 8th graders going into the high school season, high school year next year. So these are our female wrestlers on this year's team. Can I get my 7th graders come on down? Go ahead and line up here to the left side of me. This is Hunter Cole, Luke Griffin, Eli Groh, Brody Kitt, Kaiser Lehman, Jake Gleiser, Seth Matlock, Bowen McIntosh, Jesse Milner, Tyler Parks, Camden Plummer, and Lincoln Wright. So the great thing about middle school wrestling is we do group them by ability and weight, but sometimes, especially if they're more experienced with some participation in kids club and things like that, they don't necessarily only wrestle 7th graders. They could potentially wrestle up to that 8th grade level, just depending on where they're at. And overall, these kids did a fantastic job. For what, again, we have a 5-week season, and sometimes it's their very first time ever stepping on the wrestling mat, and it was a very weird year to do it in with our pods and all of that stuff. But a tremendous shout out to these kids as they wrestled hard, worked hard throughout the whole season, and really kind of set up for a solid team. Because again, you don't just need 8th grade with experience, you need everyone to fill those spots, and these kids did a great job of that, and I'm hoping we get every single one of them back next year as they continue their 8th grade wrestling season for next year. So good job, 7th graders. Every one of them did get a varsity letter, except Mr. Hunter Cole. Unfortunately, he was one of our 2 that got quarantined, but he did get a provisional, which means if he wrestles next year and gets a varsity, he'll get his 2nd varsity award. So good job, 7th graders. You can go sit down once you get all your stuff. And 8th graders, come on down, line up to my right here. This group is Quentin Anderson, Jason Black Jr., Ezra Crutchfield, Louis Flory Stackle, Aiden McManus, Isaiah Moss, Braden Riggs, Kent Stuckey, and Dathan West. So these were our leaders of the team, did a great job. A lot of them had quite a bit of experience, whether it was just last year in middle school wrestling or even further back in the kids club. Did have quite a few new faces, which was very cool because we didn't have a huge 7th grade group last year, and I think a lot of them decided to come on out and give wrestling a shot, even if it's just 1 year in a 5-week season. So we really appreciated them for coming out and doing that. They led the team, did very well. We'll talk about some team stuff, but I just know that looking across the room, I could kind of tell where my 8th graders were because they did. They stepped up, they led, and they made sure, whether it was health-wise, how hard they were working, all of that, that they were showcasing to the rest of the team. So good job to my 8th graders. So that being said, just a few overall notes for the team. We got first at what we called the Pioneer League Clash, which due to our league rules, that was our Burlington tournament this year. We hosted just the league and we got first there. We ended up being the runners-up at the Pioneer League tournament this year, 2nd place overall as a team. But then one of our coolest achievements, we go to Rossville at the very end of the season, which is kind of where we decide, okay, how much have we learned this year? And the kids actually took first at Rossville out of a tournament that had about 15 to 20 teams. I don't know exactly. So that was a really cool way to finish off the season. We had 100% retention from the beginning of the season to the end. You know, of course, we don't have a long season, but when you're sitting there and you can count all 30-some kids, minus one who unfortunately moved, but that they all stuck it out, they all worked hard throughout the whole season. That was really cool. And last thing, shout out to our 4 league champions, Isaiah Moss, Aiden McManus, Lafayette McGuire, and Grace Matlock for becoming one-time champions for Aiden, Lafayette, and Grace, and a 2-time league champion for Isaiah. So congratulations, guys, and thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mrs. Augustine, and this is Mrs. Liker and Mrs. Engel. We are the coaches for the girls' volleyball program here at Burlington Middle School. I was real happy to see the 6th graders come today. Take note, all you 6th graders, because there's a lot of 7th and 8th graders that are involved in these athletic events. So please get involved next year. It's a lot of fun for everybody. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring all my girls down at one time, and then I'd like to talk about the 7th grader, and then I'd like to talk about the 8th graders. So here we go. Okay. J.C. Belcher, Emma Thompson, Addison Sleezer, Mackenzie Hagwald. Here's the rest of them. Audrey Daly, Cameron Swank, Kinley Hoke, Corinne Bolin, Macy Carlson, Mackenzie Kruger, Patty Bergio, Natalie Strotter, Laura Iannico, Haley Hahn, Ziri DeWitt, Cameron Davis, Grayson Clower. I did them all. Ready? Okay, 8th graders, if you'll come over here to my left, please. Kaylin Ard, Emerson Conkle, Keely Hoback, Zaylee Allen. Hi, Zaylee, you're out there. Hey there. Mallory Ober, Peyton Burney, Haley Potter, Olivia Lyons, Lafayette McGuire, Shaylee Buck, Tabitha McKenzie, Addison Van Patten, Chloe Gosney, Lila Myers, Nevaeh Sharp, Ashlyn Logan, Grace Burke, Hannah Sides, Deanna Raymer, Olivia Bangs, Carly Cole, Jillian Simon. Hey Jillian, hope you're watching. Okay, these are the members of Burlington Middle School Volleyball. We started back in August, we ended in the first part of October, and we had a fantastic season, both 7th and 8th grade. Our 7th grade JV and C teams were 7-1 this year, and our 7th grade varsity, they were 6-0 on the season and 13-3 overall. They had a wonderful season. We played at a tournament this year that we had never played at, Silver Lake. And we were a little nervous going into it, but boy, was I proud of both the 7th and 8th graders at that tournament. They did a fantastic job. Our 7th graders ended up second behind a tough Washburn rural team, but I'm looking forward to getting them back there next year, maybe take that tournament. Our 7th graders were also the Pioneer League champs, tournament champs. They had a great tournament. And this 7th grade group, they're a very talented group of young ladies, and we're going to see a lot from them next year and on into high school too. So give the 7th graders a little bit of a hand there, please. Okay. Sorry. 8th graders. This was a group that was unlike any other, I'll admit. Hardworking, very positive with their teammates, very respectful to their coaches. I don't think I've ever seen a combination of all that in one group, a whole group of young ladies. And I saw that this year. They were great leaders for our 7th graders. 7th graders take that in and be those great leaders that these kids are for our 6th graders next year. They did a fabulous job, and I'm real proud of all of them. Our JV and C teams, raise your hand if you were on our JV and C team. Very proud of these young ladies. They were undefeated in the season. They did an outstanding job, had some close matches, but then they fought through and they won at the end. So I was really proud of those girls. 8th grade varsity, you were 5-1 in the league, 11-5 overall. And we also went to the Silver Lake tournament, and they got 3rd in the tournament behind Silver Lake, tough team, Washburn Rural's tough teams. But man, they played well. They played really well. I was real proud of all of them. Love watching the improvement from 7th and 8th grade with these young ladies. I really look forward to seeing them go on to high school and what they can contribute to the high school program. They were also the league tourney champions with a scary first game against Osawatomie, very scary, but they fought back and we beat them in 3 and then went on to beat Iola in 2 to take the tournament champions for the 2021 school year. So congratulations 8th graders. Just give a little bit of a hand here, I'm not done. Okay, the final thing I have to do is I have 2 awards that, one, I give out every year. This is an award first for this year because this young lady kind of put a spark in our eye with the 8th graders, 7th graders. She a lot of times stayed after when we had extra practices or something, we stayed after. She was always there working on stuff. She never got down on any teammates. The only person she'd get down on was herself. And man, when she got mad at herself, it was not good. But she bounced back and she did such a great job and just showed a lot of spirit for everybody on the team. So I have a first ever Lady Cat Spirit Award, and that award goes to Jillian Simon, who's not here, darn it. So congratulations, Jillian. Okay, my last award is an award we've given out for years. It's called the Most Improvement Award, and it's an award for, it's an award for a young lady who went out in 7th grade year and 8th grade year. That was the criteria, and then as coaches, we see the improvement over those 2 years, from day 1 in 7th grade to day 2 in 8th grade. And there was no doubt in our minds who it was this year. This gal came in, 7th grader, she played on the C team. She worked hard in the summer. She got very respectful, takes in what you say, soaks it in, and became a very strong varsity player this year. So my most improved award goes to Olivia Banks. One final thing that I always do too is in the volleyball world, if you ever go to a state tournament or anything and they announce the state players, and we've done this in our own practices, is give 2 claps as a recognition for a great job, whether it was a perfect penguin, whether it was a great effort at practice, or being announced at the high school state tournament, which would be awesome to see these girls down the road be announced at a state tournament. So, with all the 7th and 8th grade and 6th grade, I'd like you to recognize these girls with one final 2 claps. So on the count of 3, be ready to do it, okay? Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, congratulations everybody, Merry Christmas.
Could we have all of the basketball players come down, 7th grade on this side, 8th grade on this side, and my 3 managers, please? Okay. First of all, I'm going to start with my 3 managers. If you could come up in front for me. So these 3 girls were behind the scenes and don't get seen a lot, but the amount of work that they do every day between practice and games is tremendous. And these 3 had a way this year of making it seem like the easiest job in the world, and we all know that it's not. So they will be lettering as managers for the basketball season, and I hope to snag them again next year because they make life so much easier. So Cameron Davis, Haley Hahn, and Mackenzie Hagwall. Okay, for our 8th graders this year, we're going to go a little backwards. I'm going to start with the 8th graders. For my JV team, if you guys will just step forward for everyone, I have Keely Hoback, Chloe Gosney, Zaylee Allen would be with us today, Emerson Conkle, Shaylee Buck, Nevaeh Sharp, and Lyra Codney. All played on JV for us. These girls had a tremendous season. They got thrown in at the end of the season and had to combine with the 7th grade JV. And neither of the JVs had played together before that time, so that was kind of a challenge, and they rose up and did a great job. And so you guys will all have your sheets coming around. There it goes. Okay. My 8th grade varsity had on it Keely Hoback also played on there, Chloe Gosney and Zaylee Allen, and Lyra Codney. And then we also had Hannah Sides, Mallory Over, Olivia Lyons, Gracie Burke, Kaylin Ard, Carly Cole, and Olivia Banks. You guys can step forward too. to make up the total 8th grade team this year. These girls went overall 10-4. They had a tough loss to Iola at the end of the season. They went into our home tournament and ended up taking second place in the tournament. They beat Chanute in the first game and then lost to St. Mary's in the second game. We got some really tough competition in that one. And overall, great season. This group of girls was fantastic to coach. The basketball season was a little bit strange this year with COVID. Right before Thanksgiving, we lost all of our fans, although they were at home cheering us on. So that was a change to go from loud, fun games to quiet games where they could actually hear their coach talking to them. But they took it in stride and just every game went out there and did their very best. I couldn't ask for a better group of girls, both personally and on the basketball court. So I hope you all go on to share that next year in the high school. Okay. Thanks, girls. Yes.
One back part for
Okay. Okay, now, Coach Anderson's gonna let me talk about the 7th graders. So, girls, 7th grade JV, if you would step forward for me. That would be Kaylee Briggs, Kimley Hope, Jackie Smith, Kira Martin, Macy Carlson, and Braylon Harden. So these girls, first year in middle school basketball and played with Coach Over, and they did really well. Some of them had a little bit of experience and some of them not much experience, but the amount of improvement throughout the year was tremendous. And I hope you girls will stick with it as you keep going. The 7th grade varsity was JC Belcher, Addison Speezer, Camden Swain, Patty Bergio, Corinne Boland, and Kinley Hope and Braylon Martin got to suit up for varsity, and Macy of Utah also. The varsity team ended up going 10-1 this season. They won our home tournament. Chanute had to step out with their 7th graders, so we ended up having a round robin, and they beat Iola, and then they beat St. Mary's to win that tournament. They did have one loss this season by only 1 point to Santa Fe Trail. Got in a little bit of foul trouble and gave them a little bit of trouble, but next year, I have a feeling that they'll be going for their undefeated season. These girls worked hard every day and again overcame all of the strange things that happened throughout the season, but made it through their season and did a fantastic job. So hope to see all of you ladies out again next year. Please give all of these girls a round of applause.
All right. Last but not least, we've got football. You guys have done a great job. I'll try to make it fast, but I want to ditto what Coach Augustine said about being involved. You know, these are extracurricular activities. These guys are, you know, doing this extra. It's the fun stuff you get to do outside of the classroom that builds some camaraderie, some friendships, some things that you might not, deal with in the classroom. But it's a big part of our school. And I promise you, as you get on into high school and things like that, there's other activities to be involved in as you go on, but it will make you a better student as well. You have to manage your time and be a little more disciplined with the things that you do outside of the classroom to try to get everything done. So those guys and gals that are student athletes, it's proven that they do have better grades overall as a group. So be involved, no matter what it is. First, I want to, again, thank all the parents and the teachers that are involved helping do everything, but my coaches too. Mr. Schuster is our 8th grade coach. Mr. Barvel and Mr. Over are not here. They're at the high school doing their remote learning. But I want to thank them as well. They do it with the 7th graders. But Mr. Schuster has been around for a long time. We've been coaching together for, 20 years. Getting close. So I appreciate Mr. Schuster. He's got a good, his mathematical thought when we put stuff on paper is good. I've always said, I need to just give the offense to him, and he's always coming up with trick plays and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, so I enjoy having him around. First, I want to thank my managers, and it was different. It was busy, spraying helmets, spraying mouthpieces, getting water, every day, making sure the jerseys are in the wash. A lot of work involved. These guys did a good job. Cole Carlson, Tyler Parks, and Thomas Hudson. You guys come down, please. They did a lot of work this year. With all the regulations and things that needed to be sprayed and washed, and the guys were really good with that too. And there's a little downtime when they get to play some catch and do some stuff like that when we're outside in practice, but for the most part, they did a great job, and I really appreciated them. Now for our 7th grade, we 5-2? That's what we thought, 5-2. Good group. Again, they run a little different offense than our 8th grade. So they're going to come to me and learn their different offense, and I think they're going to do a great job. It's a bunch that listens well and works hard. I'd like to grab a few more out of that group, but good numbers, and we just want them to continue. If I call your name, just come down and line up right here, please. Maddox Cheever. Toby Burke, Jake Melton, Hunter Coble, Alex Motts, hi Alex, Jesse Milner, Ryan Hoyt, Brody Kidd, Justin Clary, Brody Garland, Eli Grove, Kaiser Lehman, Jake Leiser, Luke Griffin. Again, just like Coach Augustine said, these guys, like her girls, they were here in August. We were getting after it, practicing before school, and I really kind of like that. It kind of gets us in the swing of things. And we didn't have super hot weather this year. There was a couple, maybe 1 week where we really had some really, really warm weather, but for the most part, not too bad. But it does get warm out there. You put all your pads on and your pants and your helmet, and there's just a lot of different things. And some of them never played, but a lot of them have played before, some younger Pee-wee football, and that makes a big difference too. They come to us already knowing position and line and where to be. And then we change some different things up with them, and there's more to learn. But they did a great job. Super proud of their effort. Look forward to their work habits next year, and hopefully they join the weight room next year and get to do some conditioning with Coach Petrie. Let's give the 7th graders a hand. And Bo and McIntosh. Where's Bo? Thank you, Bo. Maybe he got mixed up with my 8th graders. 8th graders finished 4-3. Didn't have a ton out this year, but good numbers, good guys that have battled through it last year. And they learned our high school offense. I was reluctant to run it. If you're an 8th grader to play, why don't you come down here and stand, please? And I hope they all move on and get to participate with Coach Petrie. But we're running their high school offense, and I was reluctant. Last 2 years we've tried it out, and these guys really grasped it pretty well and ran with it. And I know it'll make them better for next year when they get to Coach Petrie and understanding his lingo and what they do offensively and defensively. Chance Hay, you get to step forward. Brody Anderson. Tucker Noonan. I think Tucker's home in quarantine too. Isaiah Moss. Aiden McManus. Blaze Riley. Kent Stuckey. Lane Griffith. Ezra Crutchfield. Landon Ernst. Braden Riggs. Ty Steffens. Sage Baker. Eli Urban. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Again, they were good leaders. It's a
2-mile time of 15:24. Savannah Wilkinson, first-year runner, her best was at Council Grove 2-mile time of 17:16. Jalen Reppert, first-year runner, her best was at Council Grove with a 2-mile time of 17:16. Kobe Akers, first-year runner, his best was at Council Grove, 2-mile time of 12:51. Logan Ferrara, first-year runner, his best was at Council Grove, 2-mile time of 14:25. Lincoln Wright, first-year runner, his best was at Council Grove, 2-mile time of 15:06. The middle school finishes up their season competing at our league meet. Each of them ended with a strong finish. Here are our final finishes. Lyra, 5th place in 8th grade girls. Braylee, 4th place, 7th grade girls. Savannah, 7th place, 7th grade girls. Jalen, 5th place, 7th grade girls. Caston, 2nd place, 8th grade boys with a time of 14:04. Matthew, 12th place, 8th grade boys. Logan, 3rd place, 7th grade boys. Lincoln, 7th place, 7th grade boys. And finally, Kobe Akers, league champion, 7th grade boys with a time of 13:51. I'd like to take a moment and thank these kids for their hard work and dedication to the sport. There isn't a day that is easy, however days that require different perspectives. Also, thank you to the parents, all the people who helped coordinate our adventures, Charlie, Barb, Deb, Doug, and Mr. Spring. To those that help out at our home meets. This year has been different, but the kids did great with adjusting and getting to work.
Thank you, Mrs. Dawson. We're now going to go in and listen to the 7th and 8th grade band performing.
At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Bostic and the 7th and 8th grade band.
Hello, BMS. I'm so glad that we had this opportunity to play for you. A little backstory on this. We usually play during pep assemblies or assemblies in general for you guys. Unfortunately, because of, we were not able to have an assembly until now, and we are super excited to play for you. We're actually going to play what we played for our Christmas concert. It is a medley of tunes, and I hope you can recognize something and something that or you enjoy something out of it. And then 5th grade band members, don't worry, you will play for an assembly when you get to this band. Awesome. Again, that was a medley of holiday tunes called Holiday Greetings. I hope you could recognize something out of that. What we're about to play now is called God Rest Ye Merry Jasmine. Jazz is a wonderful art form that we don't always really get to play in the concert band setting, but whenever we get the chance, I definitely like to take it. So this is actually God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, but with a jazzy twist. any other musical form. So they tried to add in a few jazz chords there at the end to give us a taste of what is to come. So the last one. This is a song that we actually started playing at the beginning of the year, and the class really, really liked it. And I asked for a little vote to see if they wanted to play it or not, and they liked it, so we voted to play it. Here is Episode for Band. Again, I would like to thank Mr. Spring and BMS for letting us play again. It is always so nice to be able to play, especially in a time like this. So thank you very much.
All right, the next part that we're going to do is probably, last year was, it's a little loud. Last year was my first year here, the skit, the creativity